Hello, this is Camo Kid here, and I got a book review I want to do for you. This is going to be a very quick book review, so it's not going to take too much of your time. It's called Contemporary Knife Targeting by Michael Janich and Christopher Gross. It talks about the modern science versus Fairbairn's timetable of death. Basically, Fairbairn's timetable of death, it was a teaching tool for soldiers that Rex Applegate and Fairbairn used to teach soldiers about using their knives and blood loss and everything. And this book compares that to what modern science has to say. And basically, modern science is basically says that Fairbairn's timetable of death wasn't necessarily scientifically right. It was basically a teaching tool to build confidence and develop a killer attitude for war. And the book explains that, how he used the timetable to build confidence, not necessarily it was scientific. Let's see, when we talk about modern science, this book gives you two formulas to calculate how much blood is in your body and how much blood you pump with one beat of your heart. And I'll post those on the sidebar, and you can figure out how much blood's in your own body. And basically, when you get that, you can kind of determine, and when you have this book to tell you the rest of it, you can determine how much blood loss we'll need to lose conscious, and finally death. But basically, instead of losing blood, there's many other different types of targets. For example, distraction targets. That's like when the samurai used to cut the forehead of their opponent and the blood would run down into their eyes. Vascular targets, that's the blood loss, stabbing the heart, carotid arteries. Nervous system targets, that's when you get the spinal cord, and after you get the spinal cord stabbed or severed, the body won't be able to work whatever's below that. Structure targets, that allows the person to move, stand up, like the quadricep bones and other various things. Organ targets, that's what you need to live, like lungs, heart, genitals, eyes, it goes all into that. Muscular targets, it's like your forearms, tendons in your forearms, your quadriceps again, biceps and triceps. And basically, all these targets are listed in the book, and Michael talks about how when you hit one of these targets, how the body reacts to that cut. And basically, your goal in a fight is to stop the opponent. And if you cut a vascular target or something, it might kill the person, but it might take, according to the modern science version of, what we know, it might take 45 seconds to 3 minutes for that person to bleed out. But if you go for more muscular targets, tendon targets, like Michael's going to this man, he won't be able to move it anymore immediately. If he gets cut in the tendon or the tricep, he won't be able to grasp that monkey wrench right there. It stops the guy immediately. It doesn't necessarily kill the guy, but isn't that nice to know you can stop the guy immediately and maybe not kill him, or kill him if you have to? So basically, Michael's saying go for the muscular targets if you want to stop the guy. Period. And I really recommend this book. It costs about $24 from Stay Safe Media. It's about 126 pages. I got it yesterday, and I read it all. It talks about, it has a lot of pictures, muscular target picture, I know you can't read it, and a lot of reality of what happens when you get cut with a blade or cut somebody with a blade. Michael showing different arteries right here. See, this man's been cut, but he's fine. Even though these cuts are gruesome, he's not really hurt, and he continuing the fight. There's Fairbairn's timetable, and it was just a confidence booster for soldiers, because they only had a limited time, a couple hours maybe, to teach these guys what they needed to know in a fight and build their confidence. And after it talks about modern science and the timetables, it goes into counter blade craft, gives you a bunch of techniques, a couple basic techniques, and also goes into martial blade craft. I probably should have gave a better example of counterblade craft is when you're empty-handed and you're going against a person with a blade, trying to take away the blade or stop the person with the blade. Martial blade craft is when you have a blade and the other man has a blade, or you have a blade and the other person doesn't have a blade necessarily. And it talks about getting muscular targets and more into that, how to avoid and your primary principles of what you're doing in a knife fight, basically. More gross pictures, and this is an awesome book, guys. If you're interested in knife fighting or sparring, me and my buddies spar all the time, and you want to know what really happens when somebody gets stabbed or cut, if you're in the military or an officer and you need to know the reality of what really happens, hopefully you don't have to find it out before you read this book. And I think this book will really help you guys. I give this book a 5. Man, this is a 5 out of 5. It was short, simple, to the point, and I kind of knew some of the stuff, but it really refreshed my memory. And that's about all I had to say about it. Go to StaySafeMedia.com, and for about 24 bucks you can have a copy of this. Hope y'all have a nice day. I'm out.